Dear students, in this section we are going to understand the concepts of compound interest. So before getting into the maths of compound interest, let us first understand that what is the meaning of compounding. So what is compounding effect after all? So we have by now seen the concept of simple interest. So we are here to understand the concept of compound interest. But before that, we have to understand what really is compounding. So let's suppose that you buy a land. A piece of land is worth rupees 1 lakh today. This is worth 1 lakh today. And each year, its price increases by 20%. So each year and 20%. So two keywords, that each year price is increasing and that increase is about 20%. So what does this mean? It means that let's suppose present value is 1 lakh. So next year, if you try to understand what is the new value of the land, what will you do? You will multiply the current value. So you can say that the new value is equal to current value into multiplication factor. What is multiplication factor? Since you are increasing this by, so I am calling this multiplication factor. So since you are increasing this by 20%, so to increase something by 20%, let's suppose you want to increase the value of P by 20%. You multiply this by this much, 100 and 120. Why 120? Because 100 plus 20, increase of 20%. So this is 6 by 5. So let's suppose next year the price of the land will be 1 lakh into 6 by 5. One more year later, now this becomes the current value. As soon as the increase is brought, so the current value is changed. So next year, again, if you try to calculate, you will say that the current value is this much. So this is the current value. And this now is again to be changed. So 6 by 5. So similarly, you see that each year, as each year passes, to find the new value, you have to keep multiplying by 6 by 5. So what is the value after 4 years? So value after 4 years, that means you have to multiply by 6 by 5 4 times. Similarly, if the value of anything, let's say value of an object, is first increased by 20%, then decreased by 25%, and then again increased by 10%. So let the original value be P. So increased by 20%, that means you first multiplied by this much. Increase, that's why 100 plus 20, 120. Then decrease by 25%. So 100 minus 25, 75 by 100. Then increase means add. So 100 plus 10, 110. So this is the compounding effect. So if you already know that by what percentage changes are being brought, and you also know that for how many years or how many steps of increase or decrease are there, then you can calculate it in one single step. So now let's take a few examples to understand what is compounding. So let's take up basic problems to understand the effect of compounding. A tree increases annually by 1/5 of its height. 1/5 of its height. If the height today is 50 centimeter, what will be the height after 2 years? So currently Currently its height is 50. So 2 years later, what will be its height? 2 years later. So it increases by 1/5. So something which increases by 1/5. So find 1/5 of 50. So 1/5 of 50 is equal to 10. So the new value is 50 plus 10. So that is equal to 60. Now in case of compounding, calculation is done on current value. Now forget this 50. The new change of 1/5 will be brought here. So new cycle start, new story start. So this happened for first year. In second year, the value is already 60 and 60 will increase by 1/5. So 1/5 of 60, that means 12. So 50 first became 60 and 60 then became 72. So this is compounding effect, that while compounding, current value is changed, not the initial or original value. Change is always brought in the current value. So let's take another example. So see, what will be the amount if a sum, this sum is placed at compound interest? You forget what is compound interest. Just understand that a money was placed in a bank. I will come to the formulas later, but I am just giving you the basic funda what is compounding. So a sum of rupees 10,000 is placed at CI for 3 years, while rate of interest for first, second and third year is 10%, 5% and 2% respectively. So it means you deposited 10,000 rupees and you want to know what happened to this after 3 years. And what were you doing in these 3 years? First year, you increased this by 10%. Second year, you increased this by 5%. Third year, you increased this by 2%. So what is the net compounding effect? This is the original value. First year, it was increased by 10%. To find that final value after 1 year, so 10% increase. So 100 plus 10, 110 by 100. So this is the value. Up till now, up till here, this is the value. This much is the value up till now. To find the value next year, you have to take into account this change. This change is of 5%. So 100 plus 5, 105 by 100. So this value is the value up till now. So another change of 2%, and that is also increase. So increase of 2%. So 102 by 100. So let's see if zeros are getting cancelled. So yes, this 0, this 0. So this cancelled. And this 100 and 102 will also get cancelled. Okay, we can cancel 105 and 100. How? 20 and 21 times. So this is 51. This is 10. And this 10 and this 110 will get cancelled. So final value is 11 into 21 into 51. So if you solve, this comes out to be equal to, so this is 11781. So this is the final answer. Let's take another example. A sum is invested for 3 years, compounded at 5%, 10% and 20% respectively. So same thing. So P increased in 3 steps. 3 times it got compounded. So first, you increased this by 10%. Sorry, 5%. First increase is of 5%. The second increase is of 10%. The third increase is of 20%. Even if you change the order of 5, 10 and 20, answer is not going to change. Why? Because ultimately you are multiplying. The order of multiplication does not matter. So even if you change the order of these percentages, answer is not going to change. So you started with P and you compounded this 3 times, and you saw that the final value that you receive is 1386. So 3 times compounded, P becomes this much. So let's find out the value of P. It means P into first 5% increase. So 100 plus 5, 105 by 100. Next 10% increase. So 100 plus 10, 110 by 100. Third 20% increase. So 20%, 100 plus 20, 120 by 100. So if you do this to P, if you multiply P with these numbers, then the answer comes to be equal to 1386. So let's solve this. So 6 by 5, 11 by 10 and 21 by 20. So 20 into 5000, anything else that can be cancelled. So 3 by 10. So it means P into 21 into 11 into 3 divided by 10 into 5 is equal to 1386. So let's see if we solve this. I think a few terms are going to get cancelled. 11, so 28, 22, yeah, this is a factor of 11. So 1, so this 11 cancels. So 1, 2, 6 and 21, 6 times are 1, 2, 6. So 6 and 3 2s are this much. So yeah, so P comes out to be equal to 2 into 10 into 5. So that is equal to 1000. So this is the real essence of compounding. So let's see this one. The value of a property is rupees 90,000 and it is increasing by 8% annually. So what will be the approximate value of the property after 3 years? So this is the original price after 3 years. So 1, 2, 3. At what rate? At rate of 8%. So starting with 90,000, first year increase of 8%. So 100 plus 8, 108 by 100. Next year same change. Third year same change. So this will be the final value after 3 years. So 0, 0, 0, 0 gets cancelled. Anything else? So yes, 27 by 25. So nothing else gets cancelled. So if you solve this, the answer comes out to be 113374.08. 113374.08. So approximate value. So approximate value 113375. So now let us understand that what is the concept of compound interest. Now you know what is compounding. So the same logic is applied, in banking transaction. So we have already covered the concepts of simple interest. So we understand what is compound interest. The best way to understand what is compound interest to compare this with simple interest. So let's take 2 different banks. So one bank is offering simple interest. The other is offering compound interest. So suppose somebody deposits a sum of money P in both these banks, and bank is paying a profit of, or you say it won't be called profit, the technical term for this is interest. Though it acts like a profit, that means you deposit money, you get extra money, but technically it is known as interest. So suppose the interest that bank is paying is 10%. So what is the math? So each year 10% of P gets added. So the amount slowly becomes P plus 0.1p. The next year again, you know, exactly same 0.1p. That means 1/10 of it will get added. So P, we are talking only of simple interest. So each year 0.p will get added to this. So this will become P plus 0.p. So 1.1p. Next year it will become 1.2p. After that it will become 1.3p. That means each year same amount is deposited. But in case of compound interest, each year the new cycle begins. So let's say the initial value is P. So P increases by 10% every year. So P gets multiplied by 1.1, showing each year. So current value increases each year by 10%. So if you see, you will understand the meaning of this formula. So if the bank is paying, if the bank pays interest rate I, so suppose you have deposited money P in the bank and bank is paying interest at the rate of R%. So what does this mean? After 1 year, P will become this much. After 1 year, after 2 years, again, this is the current value up till now. So again, the same concept, increase by R%. So 100 plus R by 100. If you wait for 1 more year, the next year again the same maths will be applied to this. So if you do this for n years, you can say if you deposit the money for n years, in those n years, P was getting multiplied by 100 plus R by 100 into itself n times. That's why you have a formula which looks like this. So P was the principal. So the total amount was the original amount that you deposit. So the original amount becomes this much, 100 plus R by 100. So 1 plus R by 100 to the power n. So that's why this formula works. So this is the basic most formula that you have to use in concept of compound interest. Let's see this question. What will rupees 1500 amount to in 3 years if it is invested in 20% per annum compound interest being compounded annually? So the original amount is this much. It is compounded annually. The percentage of compounding is 20%, or you can say it is increased each year by 20%. So 3 years, first year, second year, third year. Each year there is an increase of 20%. So 20%, that means you multiply by 100 plus 20, 120 by 100. So this is the multiplication factor for each year. So for 3 years, this is the first year, second year, again you are going to multiply, third year again. So starting from 1500, this will be the final value. So let's solve this. So this is 6 by 5, 6 by 5. So this is equal to 15 into 120 into 6 divided by 5 into 5. So this 5 3 times, this 5 24 times. So 24 into 3, 72 into 36. So that is equal to 2592. 2592. Let's move to the next one. Find the compound interest on rupees 7,500 at 4% per annum for 2 years. That means this is the original value. What will happen to this in 2 years? In 2 years, we have to find the compound interest. We don't have to find the total value. Please be careful. But first, let us understand that if you deposit 7,500, what will be its final value? So 7,500 is increased at a rate of 4% for 2 years. So 100 plus 4, 104 by 100. So 2 years. So you have to multiply this for 2 years. So 7,500 will become this much. So these two zeros cancel, 75 and 100. So 3 by 4. So 4 and 104. So 26 times. So the final value, or you can say the final amount is equal to 3 into 104 into 26. So this comes out to be equal to, so this is equal to 8112. 8112. That means if you deposit 7,500, finally you receive or you get back 8112. So this extra money that you have earned is what is known as compound interest. Therefore, compound interest that you have earned is equal to 8112 minus 7,500. So that is equal to 612. So 612 is the final answer. Now let's see this one. At what rate of compound interest per annum will a sum of 1400 becomes this much in 2 years? So we know that amount or final amount is given by principal into 1 plus r by 100 to the power n, where n is the number of years. So here we know that n, we know amount is 1573.04 is equal to principal is equal to 1400 multiplied by 1 plus r by 100. We don't know what is r, so 1 plus r by 100 to the power n. N is 2 here, 2. So let's see. So it means 1573.04 by 1400 is equal to something square. So 1 plus r by 100 whole square. So there is a big hint that we have to express this as something square. So let's do that. If you remove this decimal, 2 more zeros will be added here. So I think the above number must be a multiple of 14. So that 14 cancels and we have 10,000 in the denominator because 10,000 is a perfect square. So I think the above number is 73. If you remove this decimal 04, so you'll have to put 2 extra zeros in the denominator. So this must be equal to, for some value of r. So I think the above number must be a multiple of 14. If that is the case, then the denominator becomes 10,000, which is a perfect square. So let's see, is the above number divisible by 14? I think it is. So this is 1, 2, 3, 6, and then this is 10,000. So this is 11236 by 10,000. So this is equal to 1 plus r by 100 whole square. So 11236 is actually 106 whole square. So you can say this is 106 by 100 whole square. So from here, 106 by 100 is equal to 100 plus r. So very obviously r is equal to 6%. Now let's see this one. On what sum will the compound interest for 2.5 years at 10% amount to this much? That means suppose you deposited P in the bank, then after 2.5 years, you want the bank to give you this much back. And the rate of interest is 10%. But the problem is the year is in fraction, 2.5 years. So how to deal these cases? First, see what happened in 2 years. So first you solve what happened in 2 years. Then you see what happened in next half year. So starting with P, increase of 10%. So first P becomes this much in 10 years. In 2 years, P will become this much. Now what will happen in the next half years? You understood how I have written this? Because the rate of increase or the rate of interest that bank is giving to you is 10%. So 100 plus 10, 110. So P increases for 2 years. That's why square. Now what will happen in the next half year? So amount has reached this value already. So what will happen to this amount in next half year? So interest is 10% for entire year. So in entire year, the bank is giving you 10%. So in half year, bank will give you only 5%. So the amount has already reached this value. Amount has already become this much. So what will happen in next half year? In the next half year, you are going to gain only 5%. So this is the current amount. So in next half year, it will become this much. So this final value is given as 31762.5. So let's solve this. So 110 by 10, 11 by 10. So you can say P into 121 by 100 into 105 by 100 is equal to 31762.5. So let's solve this. So from here you can see that P is equal to 31762.5 into 100 into 100 divided by 121 into 105. So if you remove this decimal, you have to add another 0 at the bottom. So now let's solve this. So this is 20, this is 21. And then this 10 and 20 will get cancelled. So 3, 4, 11. So let's simplify this. So both these numbers are multiples of 3. So 3 sevens are 21. This is 1, 0, 5, 8, 7, 5. So is this going to get cancelled further by 7? So yes. So both these are now multiples of 11. 11 times 121. This is 9, 99. So 48. 4 times 47 again. 4 times. So if you simplify this, if you remove this decimal, then we can add another 0 here. So this both are multiples of 50. So 2 times and this 21 times. Now can we cancel something else? So both these are multiples of 3. 7 3s are 21. So if you try to cancel this out, so 1, 0, 5, 26. So 8. So 22, 7, 5. So this is 105875 into 100 into 2 divided by 121 into 7. Now both these can be cancelled by 11. So 11, 11s are 121 and this 99. So 9, 68. So 6, 27. So 2, 55. So 5. So 9, 6, 2, 5. I think this is further cancelable by 11. So 88. So 8. So 82, so 77, 7 and 55. So 875. So now 875 into 100 into 2 by 7. So I think this is cancelable by 7. So 1, 17, so 2, so 35. So 125 into 100 into 2. So this comes out to be 125 into 2, 500. So 5. So answer is 5,000. Now, Arun invested an amount of rupees 20,000 in a fixed deposit scheme for 2 years at a compound interest rate 4% per annum. How much amount will he get on the maturity? Maturity means final amount. So rate of increase is 4%. So 20,000 is the original value. This is getting increased at a rate of 4%. So 1 plus 4 by 100 for 2 years. So this is 20,000 into 104, 104 by 100. So either you use formula or you use shortcut logical approach. Answer is same. In fact, the logical approach saves time. So 104 by 100 into 104 by 100. So let's solve this. These 4 zeros are cancelled. So basically 2 into 104 into 104. So 208 into 104. So how much this comes out to be? 8 4s are 32. So let's see, this is equal to 21632. So this is equal to 21632. Now let's see this question. A man saves 200 rupees 200 at the end of each year and lends the money at 5% compound interest. Approximately how much will it become at the end of 3 years? So what this person is doing, each year he is depositing 200 rupees and he is earning an interest of 5% compounded annually. So the question is approximately how much will the total amount become at the end of 3 years. So let's suppose he deposited this 200 rupees. This 200 rupees will earn profit for 3 years. Then next year again he will deposit 200 rupees. This 200 rupees will remain in the system for 2 years. Then again he will deposit 200 rupees. This 200 rupees will remain in the system for only 1 year. So what is the final amount? Final amount that he is going to earn, sum of all these, final amount. So each year he is investing 200 rupees and he keeps that invested. So the money invested in the first year will increase 3 times, 3 years. The money invested in second year, so that will remain in the system for only 2 years. The money invested in the third year will remain in the system at the beginning of third year, will remain in the system for only 1 year. So let's see what is the final value that he is going to fetch. So 200 rupees, this will become how much? This increases at a rate of 5%. So 105 by 100. So this can also be written as 21 by 20. So 200. So this is what will happen to first amount. To the second amount, only 2 years. Third amount, only for 1 year. If you add these 3 values, adding these 3 values, you can take 200 into 21 by 20 as common. So 21 by 20 into 21 by 20 plus 21 by 20 plus 1. So this is equal to 210 into 441 by 400, 441 by 400 plus 21 by 20 plus 1. So if you solve this, this is equal to 210 into, so this is 210 into 3.15. So this comes out to be approximately equal to 662. So 662 is the final answer.